let us take a look at the tools and the apparatuses required in the gas charging process. Then remove the piercing valve and brace the 5-inch copper pipe